to the Candice Sister podcast, the big sister you never had. I'm your host, Conchata Hosley, CEO of Phoenix International, business information architect, and your Southern sister with the kingdom mindset and a coffee addiction. Here we keep it real. We keep it faith-based, and we definitely keep it fun. Today, we're about to dismantle some lies and build some new blueprints. We're talking about redefining success at 50 plus, what heaven calls prosperity. Because sis, the world's definition of winning is not God's definition of walking in victory. Let's get into it. If you ever felt like you're behind because you didn't hit your certain milestone age markers by 30, 40, 50, I'm here to snatch that lie straight out of your spirit today. Sis, success isn't measured by your age, your followers, your paycheck, or your work. Heaven has a different scorecard, and today we're pulling out heaven's blueprint for what true prosperity looks like. So in my meditation time with the Lord, a scripture came up and I was like, I really like to tackle into this a little bit, and I feel like it fits into what we're talking about today. So in the NIV version of Joshua 1 and 8, it says, keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Now, I believe God's definition of prosperity isn't rooted in striving, overworking, or keeping up with everyone else. How the old folks say, you keeping up with the Joneses. It comes from obedience, from wisdom, from being in alignment with Him and His will for your life. And yet, I can't tell you how many times I've sat with the thought, where am I just isn't enough? I bought a home, but didn't really own it. I got a new car for the first time in my ever life, but it still came with the monthly payment. So I still didn't own that either. I had $1,000 in my savings account, and my 1K didn't look like much of anything by the time I hit soon to be 50. Well, by this podcast, I would be 50. And still, I felt behind. I felt like I wasn't where everyone else said I should be. Because the world would keep telling you that you're only as successful as your net worth, that you need 6 figures in savings, a portfolio of properties, passive income from every corner. And if you don't have that, you missed the mark. Now, don't get me wrong. I still want wealth, financial stability. I still want to build a financial legacy for my children's children, but not at the expense of my soul. We have to stop measuring our worth by age-based timelines and worldly checklists, because what God calls success often looks nothing like what the world celebrates. I want to leave more than money for my children's children. I want to leave the word. I want my children's children to inherit financial stability and spiritual wisdom. We don't talk about that enough. A kind of legacy that's equal parts faith, finances, and fruit. It's time to stop chasing one kind of wealth while neglecting the one that truly lasts. So let's start with a different point of view about prosperity, shall we? While researching the word prosperity, I came across a simple definition: to thrive according to one's wishes or to flourish in overall wealth. That wealth could be financial, yes, but it could also mean health, relationships, peace of mind, or purpose. It all depends on how you are defining it. Like, what is your point of view? But here's the problem with that. When we look at the world's version of prosperity, the money, the status, the stacked lifestyle, we often find ourselves wanting the same version, right? We say, you know what, I want that. And I want my 6 figures. And you know what? I want to do what they're doing in order to get 6 figures. But what we don't see is the other side to it. The same people who appear to be thriving financially are often silently battling depression, anxiety, burnout, or even suicidal thoughts. So we have to ask the question, is that really prosperity? Or is that the prosperity that I want? Because it seems to me like those things are running their lives, not the other way around. Now, that may not be for everybody, but let's be honest and truthful. When we look at the media and we look at the information, when you look at social media, it is very predominant in today's society. How people look at wealth and prosperity. They're hustling for the bag, but neglecting their bodies. They're chasing status, but starving their souls. I don't want that kind of prosperity. I want the kind that's defined by God, the kind that comes with peace, balance, alignment with His word. Because true prosperity is not just about how much you have. It's about how whole you are while you're having it. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. It's about how whole you are while you're having it. Prosperity, God's way, comes with divine contentment, not striving, not stress, and definitely not suffering. Scripture reminds us that it is the Lord who give us the power to get the wealth in. He adds no sorrow with it. That bears repeating again. He adds no sorrow with it. But let's be clear. I have to get this balance when I'm actually presenting this information to people. Because some people would say, oh, you know what? I'm in the purpose and the will of God. And, I would never suffer. I would never have sorrow. I would. Let's be clear. That kind of wealth comes through process, through trusting his provisions, learning his pace, and surrendering our own expectations. And a lot of people don't like to be out of control when it comes to their life. Because you do know when you surrender, you surrender. There is a level of control that God wants to have with you in your life as you're making quality decisions that will bring prosperity through His word and His will that you and Him have come in agreement with so that your children's children can benefit from it. Now, I'm not saying money doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But it should never matter so much that we're willing to lose sight of God's will just to gain the world's approval or what their view of prosperity is. Your definition of prosperity must be rooted in the word, not the world. Because the world will never tell you to protect your soul, but God will every single time. The prosperity of heaven flows through you daily, and you may not even know it. Not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, and physically. According to Jeremiah 29:11, God has already mapped out a plan for your life, a plan that's rooted in hope, with purpose, and designed for your good. Therefore, He knows your needs, and He's more than willing to provide as long as you stay in alignment with His will. But here's the part we can't miss. Your prosperity isn't meant to stop with you. It's meant to flow through you, to bless others, to build the kingdom, and to expand God's territory through your business and your life. It creates a true legacy for your children's children. When you bless others from a place of obedience, you're activating something very powerful. We call it kingdom multiplication. Now that's prosperity in spirit and in truth. And that's the kind of wealth that lasts. Story time. In my podcast, I always have to give you a relevant story. And the relevant story I always refer back to me because I do believe in some level of transparency for you to understand what we're talking about today. And to let you know that, hey, I'm just not talking. I've been through some of these, like I got some receipts. Oh my God, I got some receipts. The stories I can tell you. I remember one of my good friends, me and her would talk a lot, and I would tell her about the things that happened in my life. And she would always laugh and say, your life is like the Cosby Show, or it's like Good Times. Ooh, I'm dating myself. Or it's like some kind of either comedy series, or thriller. And I laugh and joke with her about it because I was like, yeah, that's about right. I said, sometimes I feel like I'm one of God's hard-headed children at times. But after a while, he don't leave me behind. He keep working with me. He keep working with me. Even today, he's still working with me. But this story really hits home for me because I literally just turned 50. And yes, I do or did or still am or going through the process. I don't see how much transparency I want to be. But yes, there is a level in which I feel like at this age, I wish I was a little bit farther than I am right now. But I do understand based off of my spending time with God and really analyzing my life on some of the seeds I sown and some of the decisions I made and living in the harvest of them right now, in which I and myself don't want my children's children to live in that harvest. So my story goes, I failed and restarted my business at least 5 times in over 20 years. Yes, I said it. Failed and restart. Now it'll be my definition of fail, may not be God's. Each time I did it, it was like a stepping stone to a different level of something else. Each time I genuinely believed that I had heard from God. I had the vision, the strategy, and the plan. I was determined to build something meaningful, not just for income, but for impact. All right. I truly believe that when I build something, product or service, it can last the test of time. It's something that could be used beyond my living. And to be fair, some of it worked. There were wins. There were seasons of overflow. And I'm laughing because I kind of think about how short they were. I'm gonna count them though, because I'm gonna count every win. And so, but there was also seasons of deep loss. I made some financial decisions that felt spirit led in the moment, only to realize later that they were driven by my own pressure and not his presence. Throughout this process, I had a good heart. But not every decision was rooted in God's timing. And now here I was, standing in the age of my 50th birthday, looking around and thinking, shouldn't I be fathered by now? Shouldn't I be a multi-millionaire and serial entrepreneur? But then I look at it like, man, my 401k look like a sad story. Up and down, up and down. My bank account wasn't giving success story energy either. And yeah, I'm country. I say either and not either. And in the eyes of the world, I hadn't amassed the kind of wealth I was supposed to have at this age. It did shook me for a minute because I'm like thinking how much time I got left. Time is a commodity to me. Time is just as good as $100 bill. And when I don't have that $100 bill, I feel it. So when I don't have the time, I feel it. And I really truly believe I have worked hard to be where I'm at, despite the ups and downs, despite the going in and out of situations and failing and starting and failing and starting. And I really truly believe I have sacrificed a lot, but yet I was still struggling mentally, financially, and emotionally. Still trying to make sense of why the math of my obedience wasn't adding up to the world's definition of success. And that's the issue number one right there. Yeah, that's another story and another podcast on that one. So, pushing it back a few years ago, I got caught up in the cycle again. The going back and forth, chasing all the new business trend funnels, ads, strategy launches. And I thought, man, if I just hit that next revenue goal, maybe then I will feel successful. Right. And my goal could have been six figures. My goal could have been, another entrepreneur idea inside a concept that you pushed off and was pushing more into the six-figure income. But sis, when I did finally hit that number, I still felt empty. Like, was this it? Is this everything that I have pushed so hard for it to become? So I finally asked God, how do you define success for me? I can't speak for everybody else, but how do you define success for me? Because obviously, what I think is successful is not giving me any peace. I'm still feeling empty. It's crazy how you can still feel empty with money in the bank, a home, a car, not in debt, not worried about anything, but still feel empty. It's like, my God, what else do you want? Or are you missing something? And he showed me that success for me was already happening. Every time I said yes to his purpose, every time I chose integrity over urgency, every time I served with a pure heart, even when no one was clapping, no one seen it, no one seen the sacrifice behind the scenes, the revenue, the recognition, those are just receipts. That's just for the world to see, hey, the hard work and dedication that I put in, this is what it looks like. At the end of the day, it was the obedience. And it gave me a different perspective on how successful I am at 50. Obedience was the reason. I had to change the perspective on how I look at what was successful. And that moment redefined everything for me. I literally stopped chasing numbers. I started honoring the pace of grace. I realized that I wasn't behind. I was just in the middle of becoming what God want me to be anyway. And I just want to say to you, get into that place with God to find out, what does success look like to you? What is his perspective on it? Because even though you may seem like you are not at the place, he could easily tell you you are at the place where he wants you to be. It's so good to hear that from your father. It's so wonderful to hear that even through your good and your bad, he can still come to you and say, you are here where I need you to be. This is the place where I want you to be. Take that time. Take those moments. So that's all I got for you today. I hope it resonate with each and every one of you. I do have a challenge for you to actually do. And I want you to take 30 minutes out of your day, no matter what time of the day, early morning, afternoon, midday. And I want you to journal. Now, I know some of you may say, girl, I don't write. Okay, well, if you got a digital notepad, girl, digital journal. Whatever you do, if you got a pen in your hand, write it down. Okay. And this is the question I want you to go into prayer and ask God. God, how do you define prosperity for me in this season? We all know season change. So whatever season you in right now, I want you to go to him to define the prosperity for you in this current setting. And then make it a list of wins, you already have that align with his definition, right? Not the world's. What did you do in order to come to that place in the season in which he says, this is how I define that for you? And you'll find out that there are so many things that you have done that got you to that place. Don't lose that. Keep that. Use that as momentum to get you to the next level, because we go from level to level, stages to stages, and seasons to season. And I just want to make sure sis, hey, we all journaling. We all looking at this thing in the perspective of way God wants us to look at it. So if this episode blessed your soul today, share it with another woman who might be questioning her path or feeling behind. You can screenshot this episode, tag me at the Candice Sister on IG, on Facebook, and on TikTok, I'm, the Candice Sister Podcast. I just want to celebrate with you. Tell me what God told you. What are your wins? Tag me on it. And don't forget, we do have a downloadable journal page. If you don't have one yourself, it is free of charge to you. We call it the Prosperity Redefinition Journal page. And you can find it on our Candice Sister Podcast.live website. And it will help you walk this journey out intentionally. So sis, I hope today's episode sparked something bold in you, whether it was a mindset shift, a fresh strategy, or just that confirmation you didn't know you needed. If you love what you heard, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, rate it, tag me over on Instagram at the Candice Sister, or Facebook at the Candice Sister, or TikTok at the Candice Sister Podcast. Got questions, thoughts, or aha moments? Hit me up, because I live for those. And as always, stay fearless, stay focused, stay fabulous. I'll see you on the next episode.